I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKakodash. Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahushai. Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahushai. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. And the mighty Shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word, Lord willing that they all can continue to endure and be sincere. Shalom to the Akwatiyam, believers of His faith and His truth, Lord willing that they continue to pursue their lot, being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. Lord willing that they all can continue in the same sound doctrine, the same spirit. And Lord willing to most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. You know, we're going to bring out the point in that some of the northern kingdom cleaved to the southern kingdom. That majority came to the Americas, but a few, right, however many that is, cleaved to the southern kingdom. And Lord willing, we're going to use scriptures, dissect it, and speak on it. So with that, let's just hop right into it. We're going to go into my notes, but first I want to bring out 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 3. Against him came up Salmanasar, king of Assyria, and Hosea became his servant and gave him presents. And the king of Assyria, found conspiracy in Hosea, for he had sent messengers to So king of Egypt, and brought no presents to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. And the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria, which this is speaking of the southern kingdom, and carried Israel, not all. This is talking about the northern kingdom. Carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Harbor by the river of Gazan in the cities of Medes. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against Yahweh Shemashai, their power, which had which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom Yahweh Shemashai cast out from before the children of Israel, and from the kings of Israel, which they had made. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against Yahweh Shemashai, their power, and they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchmen to the fenced cities. And they set them up images and groves in every high hill and under every green tree. And there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen, whom Yahweh Shemashai carried away before them, and wrote wicked things to provoke Yahweh Shemashai to anger. For they serve idols whereof Yahweh Shemashai has said unto them, ye shall not do this thing. Yet Yahweh Shemashai testified against Israel. This just shows that Israel is stubborn. We hard-headed. And against Judah. So the Lord testified against Israel, the northern kingdom, and Judah, the southern kingdom, by all the prophets and by all the seers. Seers in past time was called prophets. Seers are visionaries, saying, turn ye from your evil ways and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. This is an example to show the Lord is always dealing with his prophets when it comes to the children of Israel. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their hearts, like to the neck of their fathers that did not believe in Yahweh Shemashai, their power. They rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom Yahweh Shemashai had charged them, that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of Yahweh Shemashai, their power, and made them molten images, even to calves, and made a grove, and worship all the host of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold them to do evil in the sight of Yahweh Shemashai, to provoke him to anger, passed through the fire, sacrificing their children, I believe, to Molech. It says, therefore, Yahweh Shemashai was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only, right? Which was really, I think, Judah and Benjamin. The Levites went with them, but of course, the Levites cleaved to the southern kingdom, right? But you can see in the 19th verse, also Judah kept not the commandments of Yahweh Shemashai their power, but walked in the statutes of Israel which made them. And Yahweh Shemashai rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them and delivered them into the hand of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. So first it was the northern kingdom, and then later on it was the southern kingdom, like a little after the Babylonians took them, right? So now let's go to the notes. Northern kingdom cleave to the southern kingdom. This proves that some of the northern kingdom cleave to Judah. Yes, there are scriptures that clearly show, and this is for anybody that don't know and understand, right? And I think another reason why wanted to do this lesson is because I believe Deacon was saying, when you especially go in the New Testament, when they talk about Gentiles, they don't believe it was no northern kingdom mixed in with the southern kingdom. They just believe that all of the northern kingdom came to the Americas. So let's just prove it with the information we have. It says, yes, there are scriptures that clearly show some of the northern kingdom cleave to the southern kingdom, Judah, after the Assyrian captivity began, and even before the final exile of the northern kingdom. So even before the northern kingdom got kicked out, and when the Assyrian captivity began, when they were in the land that we already seen in the verse, the Medes, they was in the hands of the Assyrians. Even some of the northern kingdom cleaved to them before and during. 2 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 13 to 17, the Levites and others from Israel joined Judah, and the priests and the Levites that were in all Judah resorted to him out of all their coast. For the Levites left their suburbs in their possessions and came to Judah and Jerusalem. For Jeroboam and his sons had cast them off from executing the priest's office unto Yahweh Shemashai, and after them out of all the tribes of Israel, such as set their heart to seek Yahweh Shemashai, power of Israel came to Jerusalem to sacrifice unto Yahweh Shemashai of their fathers. So they strengthened the kingdom of Judah. In the point, after the split, many righteous individuals from all the tribes of the northern kingdom who wanted to serve Yahweh Shemashai left Israel, left the majority of the northern kingdom, and joined with Judah. 2 Chronicles 15 and 9. Many from Ephraim, Manasseh, and Simeon joined Judah. And he gathered all Judah and Benjamin, and the strangers with them out of Ephraim and Manasseh, and out of Simeon, for they fell to him out of Israel in abundance, when they saw that Yahweh Shemashai, his power was with him. Right? And at this point, during King Asa reign, many Israelites from the northern kingdom cleave to Judah, becoming strangers among Judah. Now, history-wise, now this book that I got, Bible Maps in Church, it would show 8 kings were good, but when the apostles go into it, eventually, one of them actually was good and then became bad. So it was 7 good kings in the southern kingdom, and it was not one good king in the northern kingdom. And I believe the southern kingdom had 21 and the northern kingdom had 19 kings, and all of them were bad. So 2 Chronicles chapter 30, verse 1 and verse 10 and 11, Hezekiah invites all Israel for Passover. Some responded. Hezekiah sent to all Israel and Judah to come to the house of Yahweh Shemashai at Jerusalem to keep the Passover. So the post passed from city to city through the country of Ephraim, Manasseh, even unto Zebulun, but they laughed them to scorn and mocked them. Nevertheless, diverse of Asher and Manasseh and of Zebulun humbled themselves and came to Jerusalem. The point is, even though many mocked, some of Asher, Manasseh, and Zebulun came down to Jerusalem to worship. That cleaves to Judah spiritually and physically, right? And it said, not all of them mocked, but you had a handful that did, right? Luke 2:36, dealing with Anna, the prophetess from Asher in Jerusalem. And there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of a great age and departed not from the temple. Point. Even in the New Testament times, we see members of the northern kingdom like Asher present in Jerusalem. Her tribe was scattered, yet she remained with Judah. Now, you can go look up these verses. You could probably even go get more context, but we just sticking to the point, right? Because even I believe the verses above Luke 36, I believe it, that you will not find anybody saying, oh, she's part of the northern kingdom. She's part of Asher. She shouldn't be with us, right? She was considered a prophetess. This Acts 26:7. And this is how you know Israel knew who Israel was, even in the New Testament when people try to say Gentiles and all that other stuff, right? It's just when we go into Gentiles, those are scattered or dispersed Israelites. The majority of them did not know, the mystery of Yahushua, right? Of course, they understood the law of their forefathers, but then some was raised not to know the ways of the Lord. Going back to Judges 2:10, right? When another generation came, they knew not the ways of Yahweh Shem Shai or his miracles. Acts 26:7, 12 tribes serving the Most High in Jerusalem, unto which promise our 12 tribes instantly serve the Most High day and night, hope to come, right? So at this point, Paul says that the 12 tribes, not just Judah, Levi, and Benjamin, were represented in serving God based in Jerusalem. Let's actually just go to it real quick. Acts 26. Let's actually read up a little. You know what? We read it in the KJV. Let's see how it sounds in NLT. What verse was we looking at? Verse 7. So we're going to read verse 1. It's Acts 26, verse 1. Then Agrippa said to Paul, you may speak in your defense. So Paul, gesturing with his hand, started his defense. I am fortunate, King Agrippa, that you are the one hearing my defense today against all these accusations made by the Jews, the Jew leaders. Of course, is going to say Jewish, but ain't no such thing as Jewish. It says, for I know you are an expert on the Jew customs and controversy, really the Israelite customs and controversies. Now, please listen to me patiently. As the Jew leaders are well aware, I was given a through Jew training from my earliest childhood among my own people in Jerusalem. If they would admit, they know that I have been a member of the Pharisees, that strictest sect of our religion. One of these, somebody mistaken and said Paul was not a Pharisee, right? But hey, neither here nor there, but Paul was. He was raised up as a Pharisee. His father was a Pharisee. Verse 6, it says, now I am on trial because of my hope in the fulfillment of God's promise made to our ancestors. In fact, that is why the 12 tribes of Israel zealously worship the Most High day and night, and they share the same hope I have. Yet, your majesty, they accuse me for having this hope, right? This was a quote that is why the 12 tribes of Israel zealously worship God day and night, and they share the same hope as me. Who is this talking? This ain't the mystery of Yahweh Shai, right? Of course, some of the prophets, some other believers knew, but this is in the time of Paul. He's speaking about right there and right now, man. You got James 1:1. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. Right now, of course, this scripture right here is going to hit even more in this time, because Jake, of course, is scattered in all the four corners of the earth. But even in this time, you had the 12 tribes, even those that cleaved to Judah, wherever Judah was at. They got scattered too. Especially when you look at the Greek captivity, they ruled a lot of land. When you look at the Roman captivity, they ruled a lot of known land, right? If this would be false, Paul, missionary, he was traveling to different places, Italy, the five churches, right? And you had Israelites scattered, right? Dispersed Israelites. Let alone, this is from a whole period of a time. Yahweh Shai, all the way from a little child to 33, and then even before that. So yes, the 12 tribes was having children, and they were scattered everywhere in all those other captivities. And of course, the majority, the bulk of the northern kingdom was in the Americas, plain and simple. So at the end, same verse I brought out earlier, 2 Kings, the 17th chapter, which the whole chapter is good. It says, when the northern kingdom went off into idolatry, which we read, were eventually taken captive by Assyria, and some of the faithful among them cleaved to Judah, because the temple and true worship were in Jerusalem, which is true. Tribes mentioned that we seen already through scriptures, majority: Ephraim, Manasseh, Simeon, Asher, and Zebulun. That would be 5, and then you got Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. That would be 8, right? I see we got something at the bottom. Other 2 Chronicles 11:16 says, such as set their hearts from all Israel. Let's just slide over there real quick. Let's make this one quick. 2 Chronicles 11 and verse 16. Let's start up to verse 13. It says, and the priests and the Levites that were in all Israel resorted to him out of all their coasts, for the Levites left their suburbs in their possession and came to Judah, Jerusalem, for Jeroboam and his son had cast them off from executing the priest's office unto Yahweh, which, we read this already. And he ordained him priest for the high places, and for the devils, and for the calves which he had made. And after them, out of all the tribes of Israel, such as set their hearts to seek Yahweh, power of Israel came to Jerusalem to sacrifice unto Yahweh, power for their fathers. Let's read NLT. For all the tribes of Israel, those who sincerely wanted to worship Yahweh, the power of Israel, followed the Levites to Jerusalem, where they could offer sacrifices to Yahweh, the power of their ancestors. Right? This strengthened the kingdom of Judah, and for 3 years they supported Rehoboam, son of Solomon. During those years, they faithfully followed in the footsteps of David and Solomon. Right? So this shows you, and even through the Spirit right now, you will look at that as the example of the elect. Yes, there's other tribes, because now we're in captivity together, Jeremiah 50 and 33. But you will look at this like the elect, because they were sincerely worshipers of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. To worship him, oh, there we go with that word. Worship is to bow, pray, obey, and confess the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And they was willing to leave their ruler, their king, Jeroboam, to go to Jerusalem to worship Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Right? So some of the northern kingdom did still follow the ways of the Lord. And if they go with the bulk of the northern kingdom, of course they're going to fall into sin. Right? So they cleave to where the name of the Lord was being professed and people were still worshiping Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Well, Lord willing, this is edifying and straight to the point for those that needed some understanding and to see that actually some of the northern kingdom did cleave to the southern kingdom. So all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Barakah Yahweh, Barakah Yahushai for the scriptures, because this is what we speak from, Isaiah 8 and 20, right? If they don't speak according to this law and to this testimony, they are in darkness, right? There's no light in them, right? So with that, we want to give double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. Amadi Shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word. Lord, that they all continue to endure and be sincere. Shalom to the Akwat Yom, that are believers of His faith and His truth. Lord, that you can continue to endure and be sincere in the same Spirit. And Lord, willing, most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. So with that, Shalom, Shalom, Babal, Babal.